Welcome back to the Fierce and Femme podcast.
With your hosts, Rami and Alicia.
Talking all things fitness, mindset, and everything in between.
To help you become your most fierce and femme selves.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode. It is an episode that I personally am very excited to have the conversation about because it makes me sad. And I think it's a conversation that a lot of women need to hear because sadly, and it probably depends what algorithm you're on at the moment, but in the past few months, there has just been such a resurfacing of very small bodies on social media from a lot of celebrities who are on a lot of things like Ozempic. And I know there are so many young women that look up to that, and which is why I wanted to have the conversation today of we both experienced it in high school. I feel like that's the type of girl that I'm thinking about is I just know that there are those girls in high school that are going, that is what I need to look like, and placing all of their self-worth on their bodies. So it's a very important conversation that needs to be had. We're also very mindful it's a bit of a touchy conversation. So take everything that we say with a grain of salt. But something we wanted to do a little bit different for today, and let us know if you like it because we'll start to incorporate it in more episodes, was get some data from you guys because we've been pulling stats from the internet, but let's actually get it from our community because we want these episodes to resonate with you guys. So let's do it. So the first question that we asked you, and if you want to be a part of these polls, make sure you go and follow our Instagram, Fierce and Femme Podcast, because that's where you'll see them. But first question, have you ever felt pressure from social media / your peers to have a certain body type? Literally everyone said yes.
I definitely did. Used to.
Yeah. And I think that's such a representation of, sadly, I think, females and what it's like growing up as a female, the standards that are placed on us. And even when we had Dom, we were talking about showing skin and all those sorts of things as well. And I think no matter what we do, we get criticized with our body, no matter if you're a fit, healthy body.
Yeah. I actually can't even imagine what it would be like for young girls on social media now because Instagram didn't come out for me until high school, right? So it was new, and now it's like everybody has an Instagram account. So there must be so much more that they're consuming, which is so sad.
And scary.
Yeah.
It's not healthy to be seeing so much of someone's life like that.
Exactly. And if you're doom scrolling, how are you managing your own decisions? If you're so consumed by what your peers or the people you look up to are looking like, how do you know what's actually healthy for you? Scary.
Second question, what does having this certain body type mean to you? So 25% of people said more confidence, 25% said more attractive. We also had higher self-esteem, but no one clicked that. But then we did have 50% of people say all of the above, which I think is an even stronger prediction of 50% of people said having that certain body type would mean that they're more confident, they have higher self-esteem, and they're more attractive. Yeah. And then last one, which I was actually a little bit shocked about. So does your perception of yourself change based on how your body looks? We had 57% say yes, and then 43% say no, which makes me quite happy that it's okay, cool. We don't have a majority. And again, this is based on our community, which is obviously a lot of people who are in the health and wellness space, right, as well. So it's maybe not accurate data, but it's data based on our community and how you guys feel. But that's still 50% of women that said, yes, their perception of themselves changes based on how their body looks.
Makes me sad.
It makes me really sad. And I just want to set a little bit of a disclaimer first before we open up the conversation a little bit deeper. We're talking about unhealthy levels of skinny and being small because I do this work a lot and I know it can be touchy in the words that we use, but some people being small is very healthy. We have petite people that's just their natural body, right? But I think some of the things that we're now seeing on social media are extreme skinny, and that is what people are looking up to. Imagine if your favorite celebrity, you're looking at them being okay, this is what I look to as a goal post. And unfortunately, they have access to a lot of things that we don't have access to. You have absolutely no idea as well what's going on in their day-to-day life, what they're eating, what they're not eating, to maintain that. How their mental health is I think is a really big one that's not spoken about enough, because this is a point we had further, but it's just come up now. It's like your body, why has it just left my mind? It's written down. Where is it? Oh, yes.
I know what you're about to say.
Skinny doesn't solve all your problems.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was about to say, and then I was like, no, she's got it.
Away. I was going to say though, like, having your dream body won't fix your problems, because I've even been there before where I've been like, and again, being in the PT industry of like, okay, I want to have the six pack, I want to have all the things, and like getting there and realizing I'm actually not any happier. Like, I think it's so easy, again, females of going like, okay, when I'm there, I'm going to be fucking rich and famous and everyone's going to love me, and like that is going to make me happy. Whereas it's like you get there and you're like, literally the only thing that's changed is your body, because a lot of it is a mindset thing as well. Do we want to touch on our experiences a little bit?
Yeah.
You go.
I'll go. So I went to an all-girls school, and I guess even before that I've got an older sister and a younger sister, and my older sister and my body types are very different. Like, you've seen her. She's shorter than me, much skinnier than me, like a healthy skinny. But when I was younger, I was always a little chubbier, and it was always known. Like, everybody would make it known that I was the chubbier kid. And that really stuck with me for a long time. And I kept that belief through school. So I always just believed that I was the chubby girl. And I really compared myself, which felt even harder because it was just girls everywhere. Like, there was no 50-50. It was literally girls everywhere. So you can imagine how many body types there are. And I feel like in schools, this is where they maybe fail students or girls, but they need to talk about body image. They need to talk about these things, because school is such a prime time where our brain is still developing. We're picking up new beliefs, new thoughts. We're learning about our bodies and each other and our lives. And if you don't have someone or something that's teaching you the importance of feeling better rather than looking better, you're always going to be in that comparison loop, I think. And I was in the era of like Victoria's Secret Angels and all of that sort of stuff, which I don't even know if they do those shows anymore.
I think they still do.
Yeah. But like, even that was what we were all looking up to. And those girls, like, obviously they're beautiful, but tiny, like tiny. So that was supposed to be normal. So God forbid you had a tiny little bit more fat, you'd be considered fat, you know? And I think that's like, even looking back at what they would consider models as like overweight models or like plus size models, it's like, plus size? This is what I look like. So then you think, oh my God, I must be plus size. That's gross. And there would be such negative connotations if women had a little bit of extra fat or just were a different body type that wasn't stick thin, which I think is really sad. And that's what I carried with me for a really long time. And since leaving school, if I would be honest, always yo-yoed between getting that dream body, then losing it, getting the body again, losing it, getting the body, and then still wanting to keep going, because you get to this point, and obviously I realized this later in life, of you've got to just choose the confidence now. You've got to choose the self-esteem now and love your body no matter what journey it's on. I used to look at my body and hate it, so I would try to lose weight out of hate, which would obviously feel worse and harder and take so much longer. Versus, and I always say this to my clients now, like, if you want to lose weight, that's fine, but make sure it's for a positive reason. Not just because you want to look a certain way, but maybe because you want to feel a certain way. You want to be stronger, you want to be healthier. And I think that is so much more important, and that's what needs to be taught. And that's what hiring a coach helped me with, you know, really getting into that space and understanding what works for me, and not, you know, 1 calorie deficit is not going to work for every other girl out there, you know. And that's why I love coaches who do go on their story and say, I'm not going to tell you what I'm on because you might not be the same. And I love that, because it's so true. There's so many factors that go into that. But if you don't have a coach or that right support or environment, you're never truly going to understand. So if you're a woman that's going through that, get a coach or get into an environment that's healthy.
Yeah, because so much work that I do as a coach, as much as it's the training and nutrition, is helping women rewrite their beliefs, because it's so ingrained back to like 20 years ago of like, we're doing like even the light weights, or like we're eating this much, like
drinking lemon water. Like, it's just like such
so
little old.
Oh my God, dude, you just brought back a memory for me. I used to do the
Same.
apple cider vinegar shots. Did you ever do that?
No,
I did.
The lemon water or like the milkshakes for like breakfast
Yeah.
or dinner, like those or like the slim pills or whatever. And it's just like,
I know.
why do these things created? And that's the problem, because if you don't have the knowledge or the education, of course you're going to go to that because you're going to look at the label and you're like, oh my God, this is my
Perfect.
answer.
Yeah.
I'm going to lose 10 kilos just by doing this. And then you realize that's not the case.
And so if you don't know, Rami and I are 7 years apart, which is wild to say. So we were in slightly different time frames, but mine was social media. I think when I was in like year 6 is where it was like starting to become more like people were getting Instagram accounts. So for high school, it was a big thing.
Yeah. That's crazy. You're in grade
So
6.
I feel like when you say like social media wasn't for you, it was a big thing, and I think contributed to a lot of body image things for me. Like, I don't know if you know, did you ever know like Freely the Banana Girl?
No.
I never watched her, but
No.
anyway, like there was the raw vegan diets, like where literally all you eat is fruit and veggies. And there was just diets upon diets. And something that I don't really talk about enough is I was vegan for like multiple years. I think like 3 or 4 years, I forget now.
Crazy.
Vegetarian for like 7. And the reason was it was like a craze. Like in our school, so many of my friends were vegan as well. And like, I think looking back now, I can see it was not in the right intentions. But I think at the time, everyone was doing it and it was like this cool thing to be vegan and like do all of this. And realistically for me, it was that like I knew vegan people that had a small body. So I'm like, okay, cool. Well, if I'm vegan, that's what it's going to equate to. And I never got to a point where I was happy with it. Never, ever. Like, and I look back at photos now and I'm like, fuck, my perception of myself was so warped. And again, I think it's so hard in high school as well. You compare yourself to everyone. Like I was never overweight, like ever. I just had an athletic body. And this is what my mom was. She's like, we have really athletic bodies. And I'm like, I don't want a fucking athletic body. Like I've always had big thighs in terms of like strong legs, always, and never had the thigh gap, which I know for me, like in my era of high school, that was what you wanted.
Same. That fucked me up.
Like it was like,
Or like
you have
love
to
handles. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
Killed me.
And I used to do, I guess going back to the social media thing, I used to love YouTube, like I was a makeup girly, but then also like all the YouTube workouts and like there was this one workout I remember I did it, like there was a period where I did it every day and it was called like 30 minutes Miley Cyrus, which attracted it to me because you're thinking, okay, that's the celebrity. And this is where influence, like I take so much care in my influence because I mean, I have like 2,000 followers, but like imagine someone like Miley Cyrus who she wasn't tied to that workout whatsoever, but pulling people's names into things makes you go, oh, well, I want to look like her. So if I do this workout, I'm going to look like her. And the workout was like abs and inner thighs. So I'm like, perfect. If I keep doing this, my inner thigh gap is just going to appear. And again, I had no knowledge at that time to realize that that's not going to work for you because that's not how it works. And like, again, this is why we wanted to open the conversation because I think I've now been in the fitness industry for 5 years now and it still blows my mind how many people aren't aware of these things. And obviously like I'm in the space, so I'm so surrounded of it and it'll be like whenever I get a new client, it's another person who's like, oh, I never knew that. Or like, I didn't know that I can eat chocolate and still look and feel my best.
Yeah, it's so sad when people think they just have to cut all these foods because that used to be me. I used to think, well, can't have this, can't have that, and that's how I need to lose weight and rah. And you're right, it's all like rewiring.
Yeah.
Like you can. And it's almost like you got to shake the girlie and be like, babe, you can have KFC, it's fine.
Yeah. And I think it's really hard when it is something that like I sometimes feel when I'm having like a consultation with a client, why would you believe me? Because it has been so ingrained into you of no, I need to do that. And then you're having someone come to you and be like, no, you can have a bowl of pasta every single fucking day if you want to. Like I have dessert every damn day, still look and feel my best. Like enjoy the takeaway, still amazing. Like you don't have to have the protein pastas, cut out the chocolates, like starve yourself to get results. And when you do hear that, it's like, what? Like, are you selling me a gimmick now?
Yeah.
Because that
Like you need to eat
sounds,
to lose weight? That doesn't make sense.
and that sounds more wrong than like using a tea or using a pill or something, because it feels so hard. But this is where education is so important, and what I'm so big on with my clients is like things like tracking is not restrictive because it can help you learn about food. Like I know for me, I remember when I hired a coach, and again, this is where like coaches are so useful, and I started tracking, I was blown away at how much food I could have. And I think for a lot of people, what people don't realize is, okay, when we give you your maintenance calories, you've had to eat that much food to get there. However, how you're eating it probably looks a lot different to how you could eat it. So an example of that is like you could have a day where you're not really eating much protein and it doesn't feel like you're eating a lot of food, but what you don't know is within that food, it's quite high calorie food. So you feel like you're not eating that much and you're like, but why am I not losing weight or not seeing any progress? Then we get the education and we start to track and be like, holy shit, I'm having like 3 meals a day. I'm struggling to get my carbs in, like struggling to hit my protein and everything, but I feel like I'm having triple the amount of food. It's the exact same caloric value. And this is where education becomes so powerful, is like it can look so different. And there's a lot of Instagram videos where people do the comparison of, like I saw one even the other day and it was like 1,200 calories, which is not enough food, but just to preface, it was like a comparison. One side was literally like probably a few hundred grams of nuts.
I love these things.
And then the other side had like 20 different things on it. And this is where the education comes in of like, sometimes when we are just picking at things, we don't know what's in it. And I know this is like sort of irrelevant to the episode in a way, but I just want to like touch on the fact that education is the answer really to all of this. And this is where social media does play such a big part. And you always hear us say that like, don't believe everything you see on social media, because like I said at the start, with the celebrities, with the influencers, you have no idea what they're actually eating in a day. You have no idea what workouts you're doing. Also genetics, I want to touch on quickly. And even genetics within a family. So like how Rami was saying, even me and my sister have really different body types. We're slightly different in height. Like we'll have different builds in terms of our shoulders, lengths of our femurs. Like every little thing makes a difference, and genetics can play a massive part into how people also hold their weight. So like, you know how there's some people like they may hold all their weight in their ass. Bless. Like, or even Rami, I'm going to use you. You just have such a like hourglass shape, right? I'm much more like rectangle, which is like I've come to learn to accept. But if I turn to the side, I got a bit more shape to me, right? And there's like, that's our genetics. And I think that's also something to accept. There's nothing you can do about that. And that's also something that you need to come to terms with, is like your body shape is your body shape. My body's never going to look like Rami's body. Rami's body is never going to look like my body. And that just is how it is. However, we can work to feel our absolute best and strongest and most confident within our body with the right nutrition when we're fueling our body and not starving it. When we're moving not as a form of punishment, but as a form of like, fuck, I know when I move my body, I feel so much better. And like, it's that saying of you never have a bad workout. Like, and how Rami said, we're doing this out of love for ourselves rather than like, I need to fit into this body type because when I do, I'm going to be the best person. And I'm going to be like, I feel like it's like a social status thing of like, when I have this body type, everyone's going to look at me this certain way instead.
And you don't even know that. And that's the problem with some of these goals, is you think that everything's going to be perfect once you do reach a certain body type. But how do you know that? And why can't you just decide that now? Otherwise, you just sit in lack for so long, or you start to get impatient because you're waiting and waiting and waiting to reach a certain weight or look. And what if that takes you 6 months or a year? So you're saying you're not going to be confident in any other area of your life until you reach a certain body type. You're going to put so many other things on hold just because of how you look. And that's why I said before, you can still go on that journey, but still doing it out of love. Still choose to be confident, still choose to have that self-esteem, still choose to be audacious, still choose to love yourself, because that is going to make the journey so much easier. And I think as well, going back to the social media thing, is you have to remember that different things work for different people. You might see one specific, we'll just say diet, even though I hate the word diet. You see one specific diet for one person, that might work really well for them. But you might try it and it doesn't. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you, because what happens is, you don't want to increase your risk of shaming yourself and being disappointed and thinking, oh, I'm a failure, this doesn't work, what's wrong with my body, what's wrong with me? You have to remember it just doesn't work for you, and that's okay. You might have completely different immune system, completely different gut health. Like, so many different things play into what works and what doesn't work for all of us. And you've got to be okay, I guess, with the trial and error of it all, and patience. Like, if you are on this journey of wanting to lose weight, let's say, in a healthy manner, be okay with the fact that it might take time. And yes, you might see someone losing 10 kilos in 11 weeks. It took me like 6 months. Why? Because I kind of wanted to fuck around and still have a good time. Like, I didn't want to get strict with it, whereas that's not bad. Someone else who wants to get strict with it, that's not bad either. That's just their choice. That's okay. Like, make the decision at the end of the day that's best for you and your current lifestyle. Don't try to force it because you think you need to look a certain way. You think you need to be a certain type of body type. You're perfect the way you are. And I think that getting, like you said, having the education, and I love tracking. I learned so much about food from tracking, and I know people think that it's restrictive, but if it works for you, again, different things work for different people. I've spoken to clients too as well who've wanted to go on a weight loss journey. They go, oh, I hate tracking. I just want to do like the hand plate method or whatever. I'm like, cool. Personally, I couldn't think of anything worse. I would much rather just track. And that's the thing. It's like, that's why there's so many different options. So don't get caught up on what everyone else is doing. Take the idea if you like it. If you see something that you're like, oh, this could be cool because I feel like it's a healthy option and it's actually aligned with me, then absolutely fucking go for it.
Yeah.
If you see someone doing something that you don't agree with, leave it to them. That's okay.
Something I want to touch on where you said, like, you might see someone lose like 10 kilos in 11 weeks. It took you 6 months. A fact or something that I like to educate people on is healthy weight loss is 500 grams a week. And when I first learned that, I was like, fuck, that's actually not that much. But also, again, I said healthy weight loss. So a lot of the time we do see those dramatic changes is that it is probably quite a low calorie drop, which isn't enjoyable. Like, I think that's always a big part to me, and how I always describe it to my clients is like, how much better is it to eat as much food as you can and still see the physical results? Like, wouldn't you rather that than us doing a massive drop? Like, you're starving, a lot of food noise comes into your head.
It's
It's not sustainable. Like, instead, we have the option where we'd go, we're still dropping your calories, we're still in a deficit, we're still seeing the results. Yes, it takes a little bit longer, but one, you're going to be so much happier. Again, you still get the results, and also in a much healthier way, because what happens a lot of the time, I would say like 99% of the time, when people do have those massive, quick weight losses, is 6 months later, they're right back to where they started. And the reason being is there was no education. Those are quick fixes of, and I've seen it through like people I know personally, of whether we're doing the shakes, we're doing light and easy. What a throwback that is. But like doing the things that you hear are, okay, this is my solution. There's no education around those things. It's just like, okay, I'm buying this, but I'm not learning anything. And to me, that's the difference of like, and even I think this is where you need to, I think sometimes be careful with your coaches as well. Is like, I'm very big on like, when my client asks me a question, I will explain to them why I'm doing it. I'm not just giving them calories. It's like, okay, cool. This is why we're doing this. Or this is why I'm keeping you in maintenance a little bit longer, because I'm not putting you into a deficit when you don't actually have enough education at the moment. So it's going to be a lot harder for you. You're not going to understand it. We may end up like rebounding, and then it's not even benefited you. We've just wasted time where you could be eating more food. So I think like the education piece is the biggest piece. And this is why for me, like I wanted to have a podcast and be able to like spread more of the word. And why I said to Rami, like, I want to have this conversation of that. The biggest awareness piece is when you see things on social media, or even if you see a friend and you notice yourself starting to compare, is go, okay, I don't know what her life is like. I don't know what she's doing. I don't even know, I think, again, when we come back to mental health, what she could be going through at the moment. Because I think something I do want to acknowledge quickly is when it comes to things like grief, breakups, people may lose their appetite. And I want to say that's a completely different conversation. We're talking about the conversation of like where people are actively preaching this lifestyle, maybe without the education. And I also want to say without the qualifications, because you would be surprised how many influencers there are out there that may have 2 million followers, but have never done a qualification. And yes, there is so much you can learn from online and like research papers and all those sorts of things. But like, I do believe that qualifications are important. That's why I feel so confidently to talk about nutrition, to talk about training, because I have done those qualifications. And I think this is where we really need to be careful with the information that we do see, because I've seen like there are multiple people that I think of in my brain like straight away that will share what they eat in a day or what's on their plate. And if you don't have the education, you wouldn't know it's only like a 200-calorie meal. That is a snack. Like for a lot of people, that is a snack, and they're preaching this as their breakfast. And then a lot of people start to go, well, if she's eating that for breakfast, that's what I should eat for breakfast. So this is where the education becomes your power piece of like, if you have the education, you're able to look at that and go, wait, that's actually not a lot of food. I think I need more food than that. And be confident in that as well. Or even coming back to, we've spoken so much as a coach, ask your coach. Like, do you know how many times I have clients come to me and be like, and this is where coaching with social media is so difficult. And there's been multiple times I've had to tell clients, like, I need you just to come to me instead of Google, because they then get so confused of like, I'm seeing 20 different things of these fad diets or these quick fixes, or like, if I do the Stairmaster, does it grow my glutes, or like whatever it is. And I'll have clients come to me and be like, is that really true? And I always love that, because I'm like, I'm so glad that you asked instead of just like took that and went, I'm going to follow that and do all of that right now. So that's where having a coach can be so powerful as well, because you have someone who's an expert. It's like having a doctor and being like, why have I got an earache right now? Like same thing. Why am I seeing on social media that like I should start taking Ozempic? Should I really be doing that, or should I be doing this? So discernment, education, having someone in your corner, realizing that so many people have different genetics, different journeys, different caloric intakes. Everyone is so different, which is why one-on-one coaching is the best thing ever, right? Because it's like you really do need a personalized approach, because even if you were the same height and weight as someone, you may not have the same calories because your activity levels would be different. Gender even makes a difference. So do you have anything else you want to add?
Don't think so. I guess like a question for the girlie who's thinking about, you know, or worried about their body and waiting for their body type to feel confident is to ask themselves, if you had your dream body today, would you be able to keep it? Because there is so much more to it than looking a certain way. There is so much discipline, resilience, nervous system regulation, emotional regulation required to keep the body that you are so craving. So that is just something to think about along your journey, because that dream body isn't just the destination. You don't just end there. You got to work to keep it.
Yeah. I think I'm going to add quickly. I even have that conversation with clients, and then they realize, okay, maybe that isn't their dream. Because if I tell them, they tell me a goal and I go, okay, so to get to this goal, this is likely the lifestyle you're going to live. And it's like, I actually don't want to live that lifestyle. And this is where it's like, is the body really the most important thing, or is the lifestyle that you live the more important thing? And then the body can come with it. Like, I think this is where when we're focusing on how we feel rather than how we look, of like, okay, I'm focusing on making sure I've got enough sleep every day. I'm focusing on making sure I'm hydrated, that I'm fueling my body, that I'm moving out of love. All of the time you start to absolutely fucking love how you look, because you're looking after yourself. And like, looking after yourself has this like ripple effect on your aura, your personality, like how you present yourself, rather than being absolutely miserable in your dream body. feel like
Perfect.
that's a great place to leave
Yes,
it.
I think we'll wrap it up there. Thank you so much for listening. If this did spark anything, or if you're feeling a certain type of way, maybe you're feeling even more lost or confused, please just DM us, because like we said, we shared our journey with you, such a tiny bit of it, but we've been there, we get it, and we would love to be able to support you on this journey, because it doesn't have to be that hard or scary. It can actually be so fun and loving.
Yeah.
So yay, love you all so much, and we'll
Bye,
chat to you
queens.
soon. Bye. Thanks so much for listening.
If you're over on Spotify, don't forget to give us a follow and rate us 5 stars.
And if you're over on our YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.